What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to Channel 99. We've got Chad with us today. He's back again.
What's up?
We talk a little bit about the EPA, kind of. A lot about solar,
starting
aliens,
a
business.
Global warming doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, and yeah,
and here's why.
We geek on it. Does it really matter? We don't really know. We'll let you find out. We'll let you kind of decide on that. So make sure you subscribe. Give us 5 stars. Pass the episode along. Find Chad on.
So check us out at newleafsolar.org, and
Okay.
You'll see our website. And I would recommend going to About New Leaf. Just reading our philosophy.
Yeah.
I think it'll resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah, and these guys are kind of like top of the line, high class kind of stuff. So make sure that if you are checking them out, that you are making big advances in your life, because we want to make sure that everybody is covered who is serious about it, because we don't want to waste people's time.
No, absolutely
not at all. And we want to make sure that everybody who is serious about it is covered at 100%. So, again, make sure you subscribe, give us 5 stars, pass the episode along, and have a wonderful rest of your day. You don't fucking sing with me. Come on, man. Day.
Best day ever.
Day.
I don't know why I went high there.
Day.
You had to admit. Best of your day.
Ever. Oh, fuck. We're terrible. We can't sing together.
No, that was beautiful. I don't know what you're talking about. That was like perfect harmony.
All right. Love y'all.
Peace.
Just 2 seconds. Peace.
Shut up and sit down.
4 hours last night. I went from 8 o'clock to midnight last night.
Hold up. You went on a walk for 4 hours?
Yes, I did.
Where
I
did
do
you
it
walk?
just all around my neighborhood. I explore, try to learn all the streets. I don't know. I live out by some fields, so I go out and just look at the stars and just try to get like really good aerobic. Yeah, dude.
For 4 hours?
Yeah, man. I'm like really committed to losing weight. I'm sick and tired of being overweight, and I've lost my belt buckle goes one more notch now, so it's already working.
Yeah.
I went and saw your sister April and Seth.
Yeah.
And the first thing April said was, "Oh my gosh, you lost weight."
You have. I was gonna say the same thing when you showed up, man.
Yeah, I'm really working hard on it. I'm sick and tired of being overweight. I've never been overweight in my entire life. I've always been really lean and really fit. I'm a rock climber. I was a wrestler in high school. I coached wrestling. Just health and fitness means a lot to me. And one day I just got up and I was looking at myself in the mirror and I was like disgusted. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore.
What was it that disgusted you?
Just the way my body looked. I don't like looking unattractive. Nobody likes that. And not only that, I noticed that my fitness was way down. Like I would go up a flight of stairs and I'd be like a little winded, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" Like I went to the state tournament for wrestling. I was a really good wrestler. Not the best, but I was good for the amount of time that I'd put in. I was really proud of that. I played lacrosse in high school. Like I said, rock climber. I've always been extremely active, played a lot of racquetball. Mm-hmm. I rarely lost in racquetball. And I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or being like arrogant or anything, but just, I was a pretty athletic guy. Having kids and gaining all the weight, and just one day waking up and looking in the mirror and being like, what happened? Look at me. This is not the guy that I feel like I am.
Right. So
at some point you just got to say, all right, put up or shut up. I'm either going to be fat for the rest of my life or I'm not. And if those are my options, I choose not.
So then what is it that you're doing now?
Walks, working out.
Just the 4 hour
aerobics. Yeah, aerobics is huge, man.
Just for 4 hours, just roaming.
I turn on music. I really love listening to...
you should listen to our podcast.
Actually, music is like my drug, man. I love music, so I'll throw on.
I do unplugged sessions. You should listen to my unplugged shows.
Yeah, there you go. I'd love to.
Dude, they're like 15, 20 minutes long. They're really good stuff.
Yeah, right on. I'll definitely check that out. For real, I will. I'm not just saying that. It's
very minimal when it comes to the overall length of your adventure, but I think you might like it.
I'll check those
out. Those are my most popular downloads for a reason. I think they are extremely talented. Those individuals share their content. Mm-hmm. They're very passionate about what they do, so they engage their listeners and they make sure those people have a way to access their content. And fortunately, I have a platform for that
definitely.
content.
That's an understatement.
Well, I do. Well, no,
it's a great
not necessarily.
Platform, is what I'm saying.
Well, it's a great. Thank you. It's a platform in general, and it's free.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of musicians, for the most part, that I come in contact with, they don't take it for granted. They have an appreciation for it, and I do know some guests. I've done 100+ shows in here, and there are multiple guests who have never shared their show. Like, I'll tag them. They don't like the things when I tag them in them. They don't share the things that I tag them in when I'm trying to promote their show because I think it's good. They don't come back on my show, and they won't, because if you can't even appreciate your own time,
then why should you?
Yeah, then why should I appreciate their time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, obviously there's some type of there's some type of I don't know, I don't want to call it a disrespect, but obviously they don't respect my time enough, let alone their own time, to have come in and like had a conversation, promoted whatever it is they're promoting for free, and then I push it out there, and I think I push decent content, decent enough to be able to reshare at least. And if they don't, then that's fine. I respect their option. Like, they're fucking adults, they can do what they want. But at the end of the day, I recognize it, and there's so many other people. I've booked 2 shows in the last 2 weeks, and I produced 9, and I have 4 more in queue right now on my computer. They are literally being edited. So, and this is in the last 2 weeks. I'm trying to catch up on last week already. Like, this. Right. So for me, it's like, I don't mind, man. I love people like you because you respect your own time. Every time you've been in here, you've been very appreciative of my time. And, I think that's important. I think everybody should recognize that there are other things, especially if you have a family, stuff like that. Like, there are other things people could be doing. So thanks again for swinging by. We're actually going to do 2 shows. Yeah, we're going to do 2 shows tonight. This is the first show. This is going to be kind of like a banter back and forth between you and I. You have some topics that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then later, I think if we have an extra half hour, we might be doing a reviews show.
Oh, I'd love to.
Erie, Indiana, episode 8. If not, it's not a big deal.
It'd be my pleasure, man. Dude, sounds like it'd be fun. I'm curious about it, so I want to do it. Yeah,
I think I'll have fun.
I want to do it.
All right, okay, everybody. That was like literally the intro for 6.5 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, I love it.
Sweet. So everyone who is listening, this is Chad.
What's
you
up?
are the CEO of a solar company. Please explain it real quick to everybody listening.
The quick breakdown is this. I worked in the solar industry for going on 4 years and worked for 2 very large companies. I worked for the number 1 largest solar company in the nation and the number 3 largest solar company in the nation. And I realized that they had really high overhead costs. They were inefficient with their processes. They took a long time to get people installed. And I'm not here to rag on them. They're good companies. They have a good product. But I knew that I could do it better. A small startup company is always going to be more efficient, lower overhead cost. And I very deliberately designed my business model so that I had virtually no overhead cost. You're going to think I'm BSing you, but literally my overhead cost each month is $260.
Yeah.
Everything I make above and beyond $260 a month is 100% profit.
So how is it that you are able to... Are you attacking a certain segment of that market? Like
absolutely.
People. So what was your strategy going in as far as being able to scoop up potential customers and steal market share from these bigger companies?
It's actually incredibly simple. There's 2 fundamental things to be able to outcompete the large companies. Number 1, you have to have low overhead cost, and number 2, you can't be greedy. if you're willing to have a very logically created business model that gives you low overhead costs, then the only other element of that is don't be greedy. And most guys are greedy.
They're super greedy.
Most people in the industry way oversell solar. As an example, I don't want to get too detailed here, but if construction permits are a matter of public record, anybody at any time can get on their city website, or any other city for that matter, and pull construction permits, and it's super obvious which ones are solar because it'll say the name of the solar company, and every solar company is something solar, right? So you see the word solar and you know, all right, this is a solar permit. It'll show you the system size and the system and the cost of the project, and if you want to know what their cost per watt is, you just do cost divided by size, and that gives you the cost per kilowatt. If you divide that by 1,000, that breaks it down to cost per watt. Don't want to get too technical here with the math. It's very straight division, very simple. The average rate in Boise, Nampa, Caldwell, Meridian is about $4.30 per watt. Now, I've seen it as high as $5.15 per watt, and I've seen it as low as $3.80 per watt. My company, our average price that we sell at is $3.33 per watt. So we are, that comes out, for every 10 cents per watt that you're lower than the competition, comes out to $1,000 a kilowatt. Average system size in America, 6 kilowatts, which means my systems are on average $6,000 cheaper than the competition. That's significant.
So your units that you sell specifically versus these big companies,
big box companies,
the way that you have been able to structure your payment plans, your incentives, your contracts with third parties for the actual equipment itself, right? The hardware. You're able to provide something that is at what percentage? What is that again? Sorry.
Well, so not a percentage. I'm talking
like,
dollar
what's
amount.
The dollar point?
It's on average, it's about $6,000 cheaper per system.
Okay, and so like per system, what is the household size like? So my house is 1,800 square feet. What is the average that would be that differential? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So a house like this, 1,800 square feet, you're not going to need a really big system, but you can't just go off size of the home. It has to do with the electricity habits of the people that live in the home. I've seen people with very small homes that have a huge electric bill.
Yeah.
The electric consumption is what we really care about.
Okay.
But there is a general correlation between the size of the house and how much you're going to consume.
Can I give you a dollar point?
Yeah, please.
Like a dollar, price point.
Yeah. Per
so
month,
my monthly electricity right now, just because we are in the off season where I'm using gas for heat, not electricity.
Not electricity for AC.
Yeah. So right now my electricity is probably around $40 a month.
Yeah, I could easily beat that.
Yeah,
it'd be cheap.
Yeah.
So what you need to do, you need
between
to look at your
me
annual.
And another dude, two bachelors living in the same house. He's renting from me, but again,
rarely here.
He probably uses just as much as like electricity as I do, just because. Outside of
he's
this,
got a TV,
I have
lights,
a studio.
and,
I mean, he has a. He's in there all the time. Yeah, he lives in that room.
Yeah. So what you're really looking at, you need to look at the annual amount you spend on power to the public utility company, and then divide that by 12. And that is the figure that you need to go off of. If I had to guess, I would say you're probably somewhere between $80 and $120 a month is probably your average, is somewhere right in there. If you take into account the high summer months and the low winter months, you're going to be somewhere in there.
I might honestly say closer to the 60 to 80 range if I'm averaged. Yeah,
60 to 80. All right, that's fine.
80.
So let's say your average was $70. Let's just split that down the middle.
That sounds about right. Just because I do have months where it's literally $18, $20, and then I have months that are $189, 220
July,
because of
August.
Because my AC runs off of that. But my average honestly is probably closer to 40 to 60, but I'm going to say 50 to 70 just because I really don't use a lot, and I always turn lights off and everything lights off.
It's funny. Everybody has this conversation with me when I talk to homeowners about this, and this is what I do all day long every day, right? Everybody is surprised what the average comes out to. Nobody ever calculates what they pay annually to the power company. Nobody.
No.
And then I show it to them because I put in the numbers in a spreadsheet, and it's just like black and white. These are the numbers, and it's always higher than people think. Always.
Yeah. Have you thought about contracting with Tesla? How does that work? You should, man.
I don't know.
Because honestly, I'm probably going to have to get a new roof in the next 5 to 10 years. And if you could contract with Tesla for those new things, they sell them, legitimately sell those tiles. Those
oh man, you're gonna pay for those
solar tiles? No, they're worth it, dude. I've looked into it,
$100,000 easily for
for my dude. My roof, dude. My roof is tiny, bro.
Listen to me. I just watched. So this is all I do, right? I love researching this stuff. And
but does it pay it off?
If you're gonna be good,
if you could contract and make money on it, you should probably be.
So I absolutely want to adopt the solar tiles when the price comes down. Yeah. Right now, price is crazy high. One of the first people,
because you have to pay a licensing fee or something on top of the actual item itself, and then you have to pass that along to someone like us.
No, it's because the technology is so new with the Tesla solar tile. Literally, the first house they did was probably, I don't know, maybe about a 4,800 square foot home. One of the first, not the first, one of the first. There was a guy, he's an Asian fellow. They interviewed him. He lives in California, and he paid $100,000 to have his house done in those solar tiles.
That's a big ass house, though, dude.
Yeah, 4,800. It's a big, but think about it. But it's
house.
Multiple stories. The roof space really isn't going to be a whole lot different than your roof. Right, this is a one-story house. He would have a 3-story. He had a basement, primary level, secondary level.
Guess, I don't know.
I mean, 1,800 square feet times 3 stories, you're pretty damn close to 6,000 square feet,
Yeah, 3 times 18, you're looking at 40, 53?
Yeah, 54.
54 square feet, that's right. Yeah, 5,400 square feet.
So... So it's just that it's expensive technology, but without, let me be clear, that is the future. Nobody wants to have a large panel on their roof if instead they could have something that looks like a shingle. That will always be superior aesthetically, but there are some things about the panels that are superior to the tiles. The roof tiles are great because of aesthetics. Panels are better because they shade your roof. They don't touch the roof. They're above it by a few inches. And
they're
they
ugly.
Actually...
Dude, they're ugly.
No, they're not with a trim now. Oh, no, they look so sexy. It's
dude,
so modern.
Look at my name. Dude, whoa, that's loud.
that jumped up all of a sudden, didn't it?
Yeah, my bad. That's our headphones. Dude, I look at my neighbors, man, and they're back the whole back side of their house. No, it's ugly. It's ugly.
Is it symmetrical? Is it a nice shape? Or is it it goes up all weird?
It's ugly. That's just what it is. It doesn't matter what shape it is.
That's not what I asked.
It's ugly.
Is it symmetrical?
It doesn't even matter. It's fucking ugly. I look at the side of their house, and I'm like, you do realize you have these giant fucking
all right, check this out.
Panels on the top of your roof.
Actually,
it's weird.
Do me a favor. Can you hop on my website?
I'm not trying to be anti.
No, I get it.
I'm just saying, I look at my neighbors and I'm that's why they're CCNRs.
Okay.
That say don't do that.
Check this out.
Because it's not attractive. It looks fucking tacky.
Most CCNRs don't say you can't have solar. They say you have to get approved for solar.
Well, no. Our CCNRs say you can have solar, but you just can't have them basically
on the front,
anywhere that anybody can see.
Yeah,
them,
they want them on the back.
Yeah,
all right,
because they're fucking ugly.
Go to newleafsolar.org. I'm going to show you.
This is you guys.
I'm going to show you a picture of our first install. Just so your listeners can see for themselves. I don't want you turning people off from solar.
No. I'm not at all.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
saying,
you are.
These are
you just
ugly.
don't know
My neighbor just has ugly fucking solar.
Look at that gorgeous website.
Hold on.
Designed by yours truly.
Hold on. I'm going to let... we're going to look at this on the bottom screen, and they are actually going to look at it on the top screen.
Oh, that's cool. Look at you, all technical.
Well, I just want people to be able to see your shit. Excuse my language, but... Fuck, what is it?
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, but this should be in the background right now. I'm a little disappointed. with myself. Right there.
Oh, beautiful. Front and center. I love it.
Yeah, well, give us just a second, because this should be right there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hell yeah. Now everybody who's looking. All right, we're on the bottom screen.
All right, check this out.
I mean, we can be on top.
I want
Actually,
you to go
screen.
to.
It doesn't really matter.
All right, yeah, cool.
They don't care.
I want you to go to Book Online, the tab at the top.
So how did you set this thing up?
Dude, I literally designed this myself. Super easy.
Good
Anybody
for you.
who is looking to start a business, get on Wix.com. I'm not sponsored by them.
That's what I use.
I have no affiliation with them, but I'm just telling you it's the
I do
most
all
user-friendly
custom stuff. Yep.
It's so easy. I mean, it's literally as easy as building a PowerPoint presentation or a Keynote presentation if you're a Mac user. Same thing.
And the last few, I've been using them for about 3 years now for a few different businesses. And
they're amazing.
They work
super
well.
affordable.
They evolve. All their stuff has continuously gotten better.
It's only $5 a month for an email. To set up an email.
Yeah,
$5 a
if
month
you
per
want an email. On top of your
website,
you have to register your site. So you do have to pay for your site. It is a little costly.
I didn't think it was.
I mean, by costly, I mean you'd have to put money down. And I think I paid $150, but I have a sales.
But that's for a whole
I have a store.
year.
I have a store, everything. Yeah, it's like $150 for a year. So essentially,
and you can pay monthly if funds are tight.
They move it up a little bit.
Yeah.
To
It's
do
not
the
as
monthly.
good of a deal.
Yeah, it's
but
not as good as a deal.
I think
but
it
it's
ends
still
up
worth it.
like
It's like $20-something a month.
$20 a month.
Or if you pay all up front, it's like $12.50 or like $15 basically.
Everybody,
so you save a couple if you pay up front.
Everybody can afford $20 a month.
Everybody can. If you're
just don't go to lunch as much. Paid for.
If you're exactly, or if you're passionate about what you're doing, maybe just save an extra 10.
Go donate
$20.
plasma. Go donate plasma once a month.
Once a month.
Paid.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not hard. All right, so check this out. Up on top here. This is the picture I wanted you to see. Here's a picture of our first installation.
Okay.
This is my buddy Adam. I'm not going to say his last name just for his privacy, but look at that. I mean, very sleek. There's no conduit running across the top.
It doesn't look bad.
That's not even a symmetrical system, but you can see it follows the natural line of the roof.
So how much charge is he going to get out of that? Like, what is the savings on something like that for somebody like myself? That would cover probably. I'm a north to south facing house, so you'd probably be on my south facing side of my house on the back side,
absolutely,
which would be away from the road. But I have to have it away from the road because my CCNRs would
with the HOA
would probably HOA would be weird.
So south facing is the very best. You're going to save the most money with south facing because the panels are more efficient, which means you need less of them.
Use a battery? How does this work?
No, you don't need a battery. You'll do what's called net metering. What that means is during the day, your system is designed.
Can I get a battery?
You can if you want, but if you go to Tesla's website, if your house is more than 1,100 square feet, you need 2 Powerwall batteries. It's going to cost you about $14,000.
No.
And the install fee is anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000.
So are you just saying
not
that
cost effective
why wouldn't
right now.
why wouldn't you team up with Tesla and go for that type of a market? Go for the people who
I'm all about that.
Dude, our economy is stronger than it's ever been ever. So in the last 49 years, we just literally hit our lowest unemployment rate in the last 49 years. So it's like people have money. Go for that market, dude.
Yeah.
How does that work, though? Is it an ambassador program? I'm confused.
No, here's the thing with Tesla. Anybody there, electricity is electricity. Your wires don't know if it's a Tesla brand battery or if it's anything else.
I know, but they have the product, is what I'm saying. Why not contract and say, hey, or are there other batteries that you can get that are cheaper for people who want? Because I would want a battery that I can rely on in case I needed it.
Look, there's much cheaper options, but I think Tesla is probably the most advanced technologically, and I believe personally that within the next 5 years. They're building another Tesla gigawatt factory. What is it called? Gigawatt 2 or what is it?
Well, there's also other companies that are going to start competing with him. There has to be competition, right? So other companies I would assume like Nissan or
people are just not competing with him right now because nobody has the facilities he has. Elon Musk has created a monster
like a
factory.
monopoly.
Nobody can produce the quality he produces at the price he produces it. Yeah, Mercedes.
I've been looking at buying
Mercedes tried
a
to
Tesla. I've literally been looking at it, and I was looking at it, and I was like, could I get a Leaf? I had a buddy who hit me up. He had because I have a diesel 335, like a really nice BMW diesel.
Yeah.
Good power, amazing miles per gallon. I'm talking like in the 30s, mid 30s, high 30s miles per gallon. So, like I'm looking at a great car, but at the same time, I live in the city. I very rarely drive out of the city. When I do, it's not that far. I could...
Dude, a Tesla will give you 400 miles on a single charge.
Well, it's like 300. Even if it gave me 300, I could still get to the next charge station between here and
Tesla,
like Salt Lake. And
Tesla
Salt
Model
Lake
3 is
like
the future.
tons.
Yeah, it's the future,
Well,
man.
and they're working on something else. And I can, fortunately, I can afford the price point just because I'm single. I have no kids. I have somebody who pays me to live
Here's
in
the
my
fallacy.
house,
Here's the fallacy. People think they can't afford the price point, but what they're not taking into account when they're crunching the numbers, you're never going to buy gasoline. Even if you wanted to, there's no gas tank on a Tesla. For me, that translates
but you still
into
pay per kilowatt.
That translates into $100 of gasoline. I'm not buying per year.
That's true.
Per week.
But you still have to pay for $5,200 a year, which is less than per gallon. So
quite a bit less.
I have no idea what the number is right now. So yes, we'll negate. Let's just say we'll cut like 50% off.
Look,
so you are still saving an extra $50 a month.
Do you want the numbers?
Yeah.
So if you're with the public utility in Idaho, your base rate for electricity is about 8 cents per kilowatt.
Okay.
For a gallon of gas,
yeah,
it's $2.80.
Okay.
Or $3.
And that's equivalent to like the 8 kilowatt, right?
So, well, the 8 kilowatt. So, I mean, you're going to need, several hundred kilowatts a month to charge your car, your Tesla. But that's still way less than buying gas. Way less.
Yeah. So you are saving money on that end too.
Oh, huge.
Yeah. See, and I've been thinking about getting a new Tesla.
If you have solar, it's literally free because then your car, by definition, is running on sunshine. Sunshine is free, baby. So if you're going to get a Tesla, you get solar, put it on the roof, and you will literally never pay for gasoline again or electricity.
I've been thinking about getting it. I built a Tesla the other day, and I was like, I have somebody who pays me to live in my house. I can cut costs in other ways easily, and the gas or the cost, but I have a diesel, so I do extremely well.
Diesel's better than gas.
I have not.
Much more economic.
And I have like a very, like the vehicle that I drive is very good economically as far as the way that I'm able to commute on it with very minimal expense.
Nice.
Excuse me. But anyways,
it's still more expensive than electricity.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, and so I have been thinking about going solar. So over the last little bit, you have talked me into basically going solar.
Can I give you a quick breakdown on why it's so much better?
Yeah, well, I think everybody should listen to it, and if they think you're full of shit, then they'll think you're full of shit, and if they don't, then they'll buy into it. And
I like that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
cut and dry.
Well, it's real life, dude.
Yeah, that's realistic.
Yeah.
Either it's gonna look good or it won't.
Exactly.
So here's
they'll either like
reasons.
you or they won't, and I like you, and I think you're honest,
Thanks,
and I don't think you're gonna bullshit people.
No.
And
Never.
I think that like the numbers don't lie. So if you have statistics and like
Absolutely.
numerical data to back it up, and if people have inquiries, then we will give them your contact or my contact, and I'll forward them to you
right on
at the end of the show. But yeah, continue. So why is it so much more important that people adjust to a solar type of electrical pull in their household?
Yeah. So I'd say there's 5 main points that people need to take into account. Number 1, there's no out-of-pocket cost to switch over to solar. People are always afraid there's going to be an installation cost. They're going to have to pay a bunch of money. No. Any company that is a good company will literally charge you $0 to get solar on the roof, to get it permitted with the city-county building, to get it inspected, and to get it operational. That should cost nothing. Then you just have a monthly payment. So number 1, no cost out of pocket. Number 2, you get a flat rate, just like when you finance a car. Every single payment's the same. If you've got a BMW, let's say you financed it, and 1 month the bill was higher, that would be weird, right? If you finance a car and the bill was higher one month, you'd call the bank and say, what the heck's going on? This is supposed to be, whatever it is.
Right.
So the payment never changes. And here's the kicker. Here's the big one. Number 3 reason is if you stay with a public utility company, you are, by definition, you're renting power for the rest of your life till the day you die. It's like rent on a property instead of paying a mortgage.
Yeah.
So if you can rent a property for $1,000 a month, or you could mortgage the same property for $1,000 a month, what would you choose?
I would mortgage it.
Why?
Because I own it at that point. When you rent something, you don't own it.
Exactly. So do you own your power right now?
No, I don't.
You rent. Would you rather, if I told you that your mortgage payment, quote unquote, for solar was $1 less per month than what you're renting it for, would you want solar? If it cost you nothing out of pocket and it was $1 cheaper it was $1 cheaper per month than what you're currently paying. So meaning you'd save money from the first day it was on your roof. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that. Sure.
So that's the flat rate. That was number 3, flat rate, and every payment goes towards equity and ownership. Number 4, you get a tax credit from the federal government and a tax incentive from the state government. The federal government will give you 30% of the value of your system back to you on your taxes. They'll just
every
say,
year, or the first year?
1 year.
Okay.
They'll say, thank you for going solar. If you spent $10,000 on a system.
And what is the average on that?
Oh, probably about $8,000. $6,000 to $8,000 is the average. That
you can write off. So 30%.
Not write off. It's a credit. You will literally get a check from the government for 30% of the value of the system. So if your system is $20,000, you're going to get a check for $6,000 just because you went solar. The federal government will say, thanks, here's your tax return. $6,000.
Whoa. Is that, and that's the same with like the electrical car kind of thing?
Yeah. Electrical car isn't as good as that.
But what I'm saying is like, is that
good.
what that means? The
Yes.
tax credit? I've never, because when
Here's
I've
the-
looked at, okay, so, and this is the thing, back to the Tesla, I've looked at the Teslas and I've thought, okay, I'm going to buy a fucking Tesla, Model S, like Model S, I'm sorry, yeah, the Model 3S.
Yep.
Which is like by far one of the dopest
It's
and
so nice.
quickest
It is
cars
so
that they
nice.
have, and it's way cheaper
Yep.
than the, I think, what do they call it, the G70 or the G whatever it is, the G90 or something, super fast.
Right.
One of the top of the lines. It's like thousands of dollars cheaper. So I was thinking, okay, is it worth it to get something like that? Because technically when I price that out, it's not that expensive because I do have somebody who does live in my house and pays me a certain amount of money. Granted, I do essentially still pay for their water and their electricity, and it does add up.
But it's saving you a tremendous amount of money.
But at the end of the
renter.
day, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like it helps me to kind of balance out the books.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
And it's not like
You're very smart to do that.
Well,
You're very
no,
smart
I
to
don't
do
make
that.
money on my
But you
tenant
reduce
by any
bills.
means. Yeah, I
You
don't
reduce bills
make money,
significantly.
but I'm able to like give somebody a place to live for a good price, and I'm able to mitigate any financial stresses that I might have, knowing that I have somewhat of a fiscal influx.
Love it.
So,
Yep.
anyways, how did you get started on starting your own company?
Dude, awesome question. So worked in the business for 4 years, and I just saw how inefficient these large companies are at getting people to installation. They've got a dozen different departments. They don't communicate very well with each other. There's a lot of customer frustration. If you get on any solar company's websites and read their reviews, you're going to see frustration on waiting times. You look at my reviews on my website, and they're all super positive. Everybody's getting installed super quick. It's much faster than the large companies, and we do it. We play by the rules. We make sure we've crossed all our T's and dotted all our I's, so to speak, and we get people installed very quickly. So our efficiency is sky high. Our overhead is super low. And I just knew one day I was looking at it and I was like, I know I can do this better. If I did this whole process myself, I would do it better than these companies.
And how is that you're able to provide a service that is within a quicker time? Or
because here's the problem with big companies. They're paying college kids $15 an hour to do a job. And
to like do an install?
To get the permits approved, let's say, or to file a notice with the HOA and get approval with the HOA, or to schedule inspections.
So you have to do that. You actually go through. So if you were to sell something to me, your company gets approval from the HOA to do this.
We do everything.
And I don't have to do anything?
You don't lift a finger.
So I was the VP of my HOA for almost 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's 139 houses in this neighborhood now.
Mm-hmm.
And only because the house next to me was the last lot that was open, and they built after I was in the HOA. So
gotcha.
139 houses. And I never thought that I would have to get approval through the HOA so long as I did not violate the CCNRs, which is 70 degrees to the southwest. It's ridiculous.
HOAs
man.
are they're control freaks.
The majority of them are adopted from general CCNRs, California-based, like.
Working with the HOAs is the worst part of the process.
Yeah.
Because they're typically super anal,
or they outsource to management companies that are fucking retarded. Excuse my language, but fucking retarded.
Yep. So anyway, we do all that for everybody. And I don't want to get too bogged down in details because it's probably boring for people to hear all that. But the principle here is, look, if you're working for a big company, I guarantee you can start your own startup company and you can do it more efficiently than any big company, regardless of your industry. That's my message for anybody listening. If you want to start a business, just do it. Mm-hmm. All it takes is the guts to do it. That's it.
So how did you make the connection to the actual... So you provide just straight solar?
Mm-hmm.
What else is there that's involved? Is it only the panels, or do you provide anything else?
Oh, we provide, the whole installation, everything that's required to make the solar work. Start to finish, we get the whole package. So that's
I'm talking
wiring, inspections, microinverters, conduit, mounts, everything.
Okay.
So, yeah, everything.
And you outsource. Where are you guys located right now?
So we're in Caldwell right now. And we're looking to open up an office space in Nampa because it's a little bit more central. What's that?
Are you blowing up right now?
Yes, we are. Which is great. Our first week that we were in operation, we did $30,000 in sales.
No shit. Your first week.
Our first week. So now I just sat down with 2 different people, huge systems, farms. We're talking about $130,000 of sales right there.
How do you motivate your team? How do you motivate your people underneath you to like go out there and get these, get these sales, get these customers engaged in your guys' product and your service and what it is you have to offer?
Dude, that's a great question. Let me tell you my least favorite thing in the world in the sales industry. Having a manager that tries to push you to do a bunch of sales. Yeah. That is the worst thing in the world.
Fucking hate that.
It's the worst. And everybody hates it. There's not a soul on earth that's like, man, I love that my manager is just on my back every single day, relentlessly pushing me to do more than I'm doing. That's horrible. So my philosophy was to go the opposite direction. I don't push my team at all. No. I say to them, look, you're men, you're adults, you're big boys. You have bills, and you should manage yourself. I will never get on my team's case about volume because of the way I've structured my business. I don't need them to produce. If they produce, they get a bunch of money. And if they don't produce, they don't make money.
I love your idea, by the way. You broke that down the last time you were at the house. So you swung by a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. We rescheduled, and I apologize that I had to reschedule the other week.
It's such a pleasure to be here. I just don't care.
Well, I unprofessionally, I had to like cancel a few hours before.
Dude, you had tickets to a dope concert. You always got to go to the concert.
I did, and I would have invited you if I had extra tickets, but I didn't.
Oh, dude, I'm a dad with kids. Even if you invited me, I would have said no.
Well, you would have been podcasting till 10 anyways, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you would have been podcasting.
I like
anyways.
where your mind's at.
Yeah, totally.
All right, I see what you're doing there.
But no, it's really interesting. I have really looked into getting into the new technology. One of my biggest presentations that I gave, it was an hour and 20 minutes long in grad school, was on renewable energy and both electronic vehicles and hydrogen-based vehicles.
So what's your take on all that? Let me ask you, what's your conclusion looking at writing a paper on renewables?
It wasn't even writing a paper. I gave it like an hour and 20-minute presentation on it.
Dang. All right.
Yeah.
So give me the 1-minute
38
version.
Slides.
What's your takeaway? Yes or no?
35 to 38, depending on...
Yes or no on renewables?
Colorful ones. I am 100% for it.
Why? And don't bullshit me. For real, why?
Only because I adopt new technology. I'm not an environmentalist. I don't get into it.
Why not? Why are you not an environmentalist?
I honestly do not believe in... I don't believe in some of that hype.
What? Some of it? Quantify that. What are you talking about?
All of it.
Okay, what? You don't think we should pour hydrochloric acid into our rivers? Or you think we should?
No. That's a different thing. But do you know what it takes to create a battery?
Oh, it's rough.
Do you know what it takes to dispose on the environment.
of
a battery?
Full of acid.
Dude.
Full of acid. But
what diesel?
Let me ask you.
Diesel? What I have that comes out of my car that's diesel, it's cleaner than anything that comes out of a gas vehicle. It is so clean. It is. You could hold a white paper towel, a white Kleenex, whatever it is, up to my exhaust, and you will have
soot.
Nothing.
No soot.
Nothing.
Because you've got it all filtered. Why is that important to you?
It's not important to me.
Yes, it is.
You're not, though.
Can I tell you why you're full of shit?
Why?
In the friendliest way possible, with respect. Here's why you're full of shit.
I don't take pride in that.
When I walked into your house, the first thing I noticed was your house is clean.
Always.
Why?
Because I'm a clean dude.
Why do you want it clean?
Because I have...
Why not throw shit everywhere? Why not have dirty dishes all over the fucking place? Why not have dirty underwear and socks and pizza boxes everywhere?
I was raised differently, and I'm prescribed Adderall at the same time.
No, but you see where I'm going with this, right?
You see
why do you
that's
want...
real, though. I'm prescribed Adderall, I was raised different.
That's good. But why have you clung on to that as a value that you want your house clean? Why is that important to you? Would you say that, philosophically speaking, it is better to live in a clean space?
Sure.
And it brings you joy and happiness to see your house in order, clean, vacuumed, tidy, versus disordered, in chaos and disarray.
Yes, but I also believe that the majority, if not everybody, would also conclude that they would appreciate a nice, neat, tidy home without having to go overboard with making sure that it was taken care of on their own accord. Does that make sense?
No.
Which is why I have I have...
Like not being forced to keep their house clean, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, what I'm saying is like just being able to recognize that things need to be cleaned without having to be asked to clean my house. And I also
like a sense of self-awareness?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a tenant. So it's also like he helps, he works on dishes, he'll wipe things down, he'll do the floors.
Yep. You have expectations. You're
yeah.
Like, if you're going to live here, these are the rules.
We're fucking adults.
Okay, so take that principle...
Sure.
And now apply it to outside your house, the environment, right? Here's where we're all hypocrites. I am a clean freak. I want my house tidy. My sock drawer is like amazingly organized. Mm-hmm. If you saw my sock drawer, you'd be like,
sure,
dude, you need to chill. Like
my sock drawer is, dude, if you saw my sock drawer, it's organized by dress socks, workout socks.
Same.
Like
I got my ties rolled up in there.
Dude, I've got my ties all lined out. Like dude, you
understand
you and
this.
I are very similar.
Yeah, you're OCD about it, right? It's got to be a certain
I'm not
way.
OCD, but I have an
Detail-oriented?
appreciation. I'm
Is that
very
fair?
detail oriented,
Okay.
and I have an appreciation for what I have.
I shouldn't call it
And-
OCD. I'm using the term lightly, and obviously
No,
that's a medical
not at all.
term, and I don't mean it
I'm very
that way.
obsessive compulsive.
Yeah.
No. You're correct. I am somebody who has very compulsive tendencies
But look
when it
how that
comes
leads
to my
success.
organizational skills.
Look how that leads to success. You have that trait. People label it OCD, and they make it sound negative. But how many OCD people do you know that are incredibly successful? Steve Jobs, Bill Gates.
Exactly.
Those are all OCD guys.
Yeah.
Now you tell me somebody who's a total slob that's a millionaire. Tell me one.
Trust fund babies.
Okay,
What's
other than
trust
that, somebody
funders?
who created it. You know
somebody
what I mean?
who actually made their money as a millionaire. None, because the
Maybe
majority
there's
of
an
them,
outlier. Maybe there's like one dude.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the habits of successful people, a lot of them, they wake up at 5, 6. The majority of them have the habit of making their bed in the morning. They make sure that they answer all their emails by 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
They make sure that there are certain things that are in order that impact everything else that has to do with their daily activity. And for me, that's extremely important. I've taken notice. I've applied that to my life and the things that I do, and I think that it has resonated. And throughout the last 4 months, I think
success is irrefutable.
It's insane, bro.
Yeah, I mean, look,
it's insane. I've just been able to do amazing things with
with your time and organization.
With my time and organization, only because the people that I've been with have been able to accommodate me, and they've been able to amplify what it is that
your vision.
I want
what you're
to do
trying to build
and what
towards.
I'm working towards.
Yeah,
and,
it's leadership, baby.
But it's also
Leadership.
participation with those who are involved, and it's them who make it happen. So, anyways,
let me come
let
me come full circle. Yeah, I love this. So I was saying, take that philosophy that you want your house clean, you want it in order, you want it tidy, and now just apply that to the environment. Mm-hmm. When we drive down the highway, there's trash all over that center median here in the Boise area.
Right.
And that's people who don't give a crap. They just drive down, they throw trash out the window like it doesn't matter, but they wouldn't do that in their own home. And so this all started by me saying, here's why you're full of shit. You're an organized guy, and you like your house clean. Therefore, I would argue that if you had to choose, you would rather live in a clean world than a dirty world. And you would rather live in a place where there's no trash on the ground. Is that a fair assumption? You don't like looking at trash because it's unsightly and it just makes you feel like you're in a ghetto neighborhood, right?
That's why I like Boise. You drive downtown through Boise.
Downtown's
it's
beautiful.
Super clean. Dude,
Downtown's
it's super
beautiful.
clean.
The center divide on the freeway, have you ever looked? Have you ever noticed how much trash is in there?
No.
It's terrible.
No.
It's absolutely awful.
Well,
because
I've
it's a
had
bunch
people-
of stupid people who just
Center divide.
somebody else will take care of this.
Off the interstate, though?
No, on the interstate. In between east and westbound traffic on the interstate.
Where
there's
at,
that
though?
grass strip from Caldwell all the way to Meridian. And it is just littered with garbage.
No. I don't
Next
drive
time
out
you drive-
that way.
next
I
time you
usually
drive
drive.
it-
I drive east, and I'm off Eagle, so I'm before I'm in Boise.
Yeah, I mean
Technically, this address
it's
is
terrible.
Boise.
You can't sustain that. That's not. So my point is,
But Boise, when you drive through downtown Boise,
it's beautiful.
it's very clean.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I've had multiple people come in from everywhere from Minnesota to Tennessee to Illinois to Kansas. Just tons of people,
And they all comment on how clean it is.
They always say Boise's so clean. Like, we'll be driving through
love it.
downtown. Like, I'll give them a tour, and they'll be like, "Dude, you know what I noticed? Like, there's no trash on the roads."
Yeah, I
and
love
when
it.
you drive through downtown, there really is no trash.
No, there really is
like,
not.
People do
Yeah, it looks
a
great.
very good job.
Yep.
I can't speak for obviously the highway situation between
Dude, now that I said it, you'll notice,
Meridian.
and you'll be like,
yeah,
"What the
I
hell?
probably will.
What's the matter with people?"
Well, no, and unfortunately, that's the case from what it sounds like, and that's sad because we should probably do fucking better, especially considering we're in one of the best places to live.
We should do better. You're an environmentalist, bro. You just don't know it yet. All right, let me ask you 5 no bullshit questions.
You are such a lefty, bro.
No, I'm not. Here's the thing.
No,
all right, you ready
I'm
for this? You ready for this? 5 no bullshit questions.
Yeah, I'm ready for this, yeah.
I need a yes or no, a definite hard yes or no.
Okay.
This is called the philosophy of the extremes. This is a principle that I wrote in my book.
All right.
I like that. Let me explain the philosophy of the extremes. You ready?
Yeah.
Here it is. If you had to choose one extreme or the other in any given situation, which extreme would you choose? Okay, knowing which one you would choose is not that important because that's pretty obvious.
Okay.
Knowing why you would choose that extreme, that is powerful. So, philosophy of the extremes. Ready? On the environment. Here we go. If you had to live in a world where every factory dumped acid into our streams, lakes, rivers, and oceans, or no company dumped acid into our streams, lakes, rivers, and oceans, which world would you want to live in?
I'm going to say the latter.
Why?
Okay. Because that's very extreme.
Yeah.
It's like very extreme. So
and you
that's
can see
basically saying,
it would be
do
bad.
you want somebody to die or do you want somebody not to die? I don't want somebody to die.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Continue.
All right. So now knowing that that's very extreme and that's not real life, we live in shades of gray.
Yes.
But you apply that principle to the gray.
Okay.
You say, okay, would I rather live in a world where we're dumping toxic chemicals into our water or no? Well, if you know that, no, I would, if I had to choose between one of those extremes, I would choose a world in which nobody dumped toxic chemicals into the water. Well, then you ask yourself why, and you're like, well, because it's awful. And then you say, okay, if it's awful to the extreme, isn't it awful in shades of gray as well? Yes, it is. So there's number one, you don't want our water polluted because you drink that water, and that water goes to our crops.
I may not, but somebody may.
Our water goes to the crops, and then you eat the crops, and if chemicals are in it, you're eating those chemicals. And you're all right. Number two, if you had to live in a world where there were no emission regulations, meaning any factory could pollute any toxic chemical it wanted in any amount into the atmosphere with no checks and balances, would you rather live in that world or a world in which factories never vented toxic chemicals into the air?
Well, that's again, those are just very extreme.
I know, but you got to answer it.
That's extremely, like,
it's super extreme and it's unrealistic, but I'm just asking you, that unrealistic. To
be honest with you, I guess my question to you would be, what are the economic benefits? What are the...
Let's say it's all the economic benefit in the world. You get all the benefits from polluting the air and killing people.
But okay, and what is the risk on killing people? We're talking like 2, 3, 4 lives per like $10 million dollars.
There are studies.
And are we talking business related?
No. There are studies that have been released that show within a concentric ring area of a factory that so let's say you live within 4 miles of a factory that regularly vents toxic chemicals, you have a higher likelihood to get cancer, COPD, asthma, emphysema, other respiratory illnesses.
Sure.
If you're 5 miles away, those statistics change. 6 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles, concentric rings away from this factory.
And the further you're away, the less
you're harmed.
Yes, exactly.
So let's say, let me ask you, would you rather live right next door to a factory venting toxic chemicals to the air, or would you rather be far away?
I wouldn't. Do you know where I live right now?
Mm.
I don't live anywhere near chemicals. Do you know why?
Why?
Because I don't want to live anywhere near anywhere that's exuding
you don't want to get
toxic
sick.
chemicals.
Yeah, you don't want to get sick.
Yeah. So, to be completely honest with you, I have been fortunate enough to put myself in enough debt as a privileged Caucasian male in my 30s in the United States of America. I've been privileged enough to sacrifice many years of my life to make sure that I do not put myself in that situation. So if you want my honest answer, I'm not in that situation, and I never would. But if I were somebody who's desperate,
sure,
and had nowhere else to go, I would probably still give you the honest answer of, I will find somewhere else to live where it does not harm myself or my children, my future children, the people I live with, or the people I love with, my neighbors. Yeah. I wouldn't put myself in a situation to do that anyways.
Yeah.
So those who do put themselves in the situation, that is the sole purpose of democracy, that is the sole purpose of freedom, that is the sole purpose of a republic in general. It's having the right and the opportunity to decide where, how, when, whatever it is that you decide to environmentalize the way that you live your life and the way you partake in things. That is your opportunity as an American. We're not told how to live. So I think that if somebody were to put themselves in that situation, then that's on them. I do believe that it's up to the general public to vote on our politics and the people who regulate it to make sure that those things do not get out into the environment, that they do not deregulate certain things that affect the environment, that do pollute our water systems and, have a negative effect on, those who are both living and those who are, soon to be born. I think it's very unfortunate that there are things that have not been regulated, and there are deregulations in certain parts of the world that they do affect like certain things, and those have not been researched correctly, and the science behind them do not sufficiently correlate to what it is that is actually happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
My point
it's
in this
difficult.
is,
like, it honestly, as an analyst, it's very difficult to answer a lot of questions when it comes to this, because it's very, very
nuanced.
Yeah, and it's
I hear you. But in a black and white scenario, so far,
yes,
100% of the questions you've answered on the environmentalist side of the spectrum.
For sure, and I think it's important.
Here's what's interesting about Americans. We have this negative connotation with the word environmentalist. When I say that word, most people are thinking of a long-haired hippie who like chains himself to a tree and is like, you can't bulldoze this one tree even though you're going to build some amazing thing. And it's like, dude, no. That is damaging environmentalism.
Right.
I went and visited Berkeley, the university in California, and there are a group of homeless people who literally live in these trees on campus because Berkeley was going to cut down those trees to expand their football stadium. And the environmentalists said, absolutely not, you can't do that. So then Berkeley said, look, we understand these are beautiful trees. We understand that they, there's benefit they give the environment. So if you'll please allow us to cut down these trees that are on our own campus to expand our stadium, we will plant 100, I don't know what the number was, but 100 more trees, or 10 trees for every one tree that we cut down. In other words, we'll create a forest that wasn't previously there. And the environmentalists still said no. Now that is negative extremist environmentalism. That's damaging. That doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help progress. And I am not advocating that kind of environmentalism. That is stupid and asinine.
Yeah.
And I want no part of that. What I do want is progressive environmentalism, where we say, okay, look, let's just look at the greater good. You want to cut down these 10 trees? Cool, do it. But plant 10 trees or more somewhere else.
Right.
That's fine. If you want to build a factory that burns coal more efficiently than an existing factory, do it. And tear down the old factory that's less efficient. That's a step forward. It's a step in the right direction. The problem with quote-unquote environmentalists, Tim, is that they stand in the way of progress most of the time, and those are the environmentalists that you hate and that I hate, and that's the reason you hesitate to call yourself an environmentalist. But so far in the questions I've asked you, you've identified as an environmentalist.
Yeah, I wouldn't really necessarily say I'm an environmentalist, but I do take into consideration the outlying factors that may impact our environment. And I do pay attention to our political movements and certain things such as climate control or climate change, I should say. And I put quotation marks because honestly, I think there are some things that are kind of bullshit.
Well, let's talk about that. And that's actually one of our talking points tonight. I really want to get to that.
I think a lot of people think it's bullshit.
Sure, I think we should talk about it. In fact,
I have
a preposition
like a top level.
Yeah.
I can't argue it at all, but I'll definitely hear somebody out, and I will just.
What do you think?
I'll spit common sense back at somebody,
I like that.
such as yourself, and I'll say,
what do you think my position is on global warming?
Honestly, I don't think you are like a climate change. I don't think you're.
I'm a biology major and a chemistry minor.
I don't think you're green. I don't think you're a green geek. I don't think you're one of those people. I think you're literally an individual who recognizes that it's probably better thing for the environment that we move to solar, and that there is an opportunity to increase our effectiveness when it comes to climate control. But I don't think that you are a climate
fanatic.
I don't think you're somebody, and if you are, I'm not.
What were you gonna threaten me? Are you
no, I was gonna say. I mean, we can pull up NASA. I follow NASA. I follow like a lot of fucking places, and there's more ice in the Arctic and the Antarctic than there has been ever. We're making more ice, and this is by NASA. NASA is literally telling us we are creating.
I haven't seen that. I would actually be fascinated to see that, because everything I've watched has been shrinking ice caps.
Well, fucking Google it. It's literally they just came out with another one. They come out with them every couple of years. It fucking blows my mind.
Here's the thing about the scientific method. So in college, I was a biology major and chemistry minor, and the reason I was saying that earlier was not to like tout my resume, but just because I think most people, when they hear that about me, they're like, oh, he's probably some hippie environmentalist, but I'm just not. I love the environment. I think that we should protect it just the same way that I love my house, and I want my house to be clean, and I don't want trash all over my house. Why would I want this planet is our home. I don't want toxic chemicals in the air. I don't want toxic chemicals in the water or in the food. I don't want to get sick. I don't want a higher statistical chance of getting cancer than our ancestors had. I don't want a higher statistical chance of getting COPD, emphysema, asthma. All of those things are terrible. You look at Flint and their water crisis that they're having right now. That's unacceptable. That's absolutely unacceptable. Who wants to drink water like that? Nobody. Because it's bad for you. So
guess who runs fucking Flint?
Because you just said
I'm not like a Democrat or a Republican, but I'm just saying I
don't care about Democrat or Republican.
I'm throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
I just don't care.
If the Republicans were running it, I would still say the Republicans are running that city. And they need to fucking change. Like, the way that it's run needs to change regardless, whether it's Republican, Democrat. The only problem is it's democratically run. It's socialized. It doesn't fucking work, and we see that. And it's a shit show. The entirety of Michigan is a goddamn shit show right now. We've got South Korea.
That might be a blanket statement.
But
with the water, certainly.
Well, dude, we've got like South Korean companies coming in. Hyundai, they've got like Car of the Year at Motor Trend's Car of the Year. When you're getting outshone by a fucking like developing country, you need to get your shit together. We're fucking America, right?
Well, I mean, you look at Elon Musk. Nobody's outshining that guy, and he's here in America.
He's from South Africa.
Well, he's
South
an American
African.
citizen,
That's a little bit different.
And he created his company here, which is awesome.
But he also did he started out with PayPal. He's got like a little bit of a history. When we're talking when we're talking Elon Musk, we're talking billionaire before he even got involved in the car.
Yeah, sure.
But America was founded. Our industrial revolution was almost founded on Ford and our car
and steel, Carnegie Steel, right?
Carnegie Steel, and
there's a book on my bookshelf. I haven't read it yet, but everybody recommends it. It's called Gun, Steel, and Germs.
Wow.
Why America, the subtitle is something, I'm going to misquote this, but something like, why is America where it is? Why is it that guns? The premise of the book is, why is it that Europe was the dominant power, hundreds of years ago, and not the Native Americans, and not North and South America and Australia or other countries? Why did those countries not come and conquer Europe? Why was it the other way around, that Europe conquered the rest of the world? And the reason is guns, steel, and germs.
Steel. That's exactly right.
Yeah. So really, really interesting. So what I was going to say, though, coming back to the environmental thing, I just want to wrap up this thought. I don't mean to rehash it too much, Tim.
Very good, man.
But most people are environmentalists and they just don't know it. So I've asked you 3 environmental questions. You answered in the affirmative on all 3. Let me ask you a 4th, which is not environmental. It's based on progress and technology. The first time the World Health Organization ever met was at the turn of the 20th century, so early 1900s.
Right.
And the number one topic of discussion, you're going to think I'm pulling your leg, but this is legit. They talked about what they're going to do about the horse manure problem in the large cities of the world. Namely, they were running mathematical models for New York City. They said, just a few years in the future, I believe they said 1920, although it may have been 1930. Based on population growth and the number of people coming into this city, they said that New York is going to be something like 8 feet deep in horse manure by 1920 or 1930. And then they said by 1950, we will be 3 stories deep in horse manure because of all the people coming in with a horse and a buggy or just a horse. And, you think about the flies, the methane emissions, the disease, the health crisis that would pose. I mean, that would be London, New York, Paris, Rome, San Francisco. You look at all the major cities in the world at that time, and that was going to be a huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
Why is New York City not 3 stories deep in manure right now, Tim? Because nobody drives a horse and buggy anymore.
That's true.
Henry Ford changed the transportation paradigm. He started mass producing the automobile. He didn't invent it. He just started mass producing it. And because of that, everybody bought an automobile, and there was a paradigm shift. And now suddenly nobody is riding a horse and buggy into the city anymore. And instead, everybody has a car. And now because of that paradigm shift, we no longer have to worry about horse manure. So, Tim, let me ask you, why don't you drive a horse and buggy?
Because I don't have to.
Right. So tell me about your diesel BMW. It's freaking sweet, right?
Yeah, it moves.
It's got acceleration. It gets you from A to B much quicker than a horse and buggy.
Yeah.
You don't have to feed it, although you do have to buy gasoline for it and maintain it, but you don't have to buy a stable for it. You don't have to buy hay for it. You don't have to worry about cleaning up the manure. You don't have to worry about shoeing it, and it's so much faster. It's climate controlled. It's far superior in every way to a horse and buggy. If you're talking about just getting from point A to point B, it's better in every way, right?
Right, exactly.
So energy paradigm is the same thing. Right now, the majority of the energy in America is created from coal, from burning coal in power plants to power our homes. Here's a crazy statistic, and I just calculated this today. Anybody who wants to fact check me, check out the departmentofernergy.gov and Wikipedia. Last year, America released, you ready for this number?
Yes.
4,348,785,872,000 pounds of CO2 into the atmosphere. Last year alone, just America, not the world, just America.
That's crazy.
Let me put that
super lefty.
Let me put that in different units.
Yeah.
That's 284 trillion, 234 billion, 370,700,000 gallons of CO2 into the atmosphere by America alone last year. Now, is that
big
leftist?
Our fucking world is, though?
Is that lefty? Because you just said that's lefty. Let me throw something out there.
But our world
I want you to
so
ask
big.
me. I want you to ask me if I'm a Republican or a Democrat.
Our world is so big.
All right, hit me. Am I a Republican or a Democrat?
No, I would say you're not one or the other. I'm just saying that's a very leftist statement to make. And the only reason I say that is because our world is so big. I'm looking at NASA literally right now. That was published in 2000. Well, hold on. This is 15, so we should probably go back to 2018.
Wait. Hold on. Before we get, because this is
Arctic
fascinating,
sea ice
and
is
I want to
going
see this
faster than before, but there's a catch, so we'll find out what the catch is.
Yeah, I want to read this article.
I just saw this not too long ago.
Let me just finish making this point. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but
no, you're good.
Let me finish making this point.
Okay.
I am not a Republican or a Democrat. I am an American, and even more broadly than that, I am a citizen of Earth.
Yeah,
I am.
Sure.
I am a member of the human race.
Does that mean you believe in aliens?
Environment.
Go off on aliens.
I don't want to make a statement on that right now, but our environment is not a left or a right issue.
You believe on aliens? You believe in aliens?
Our environment is simply a human issue. It's where we live. It's the water we drink. It's the air we breathe. I don't know about you, but I think animals are pretty wonderful. I think it's beautiful to watch a flock of birds.
Sure.
I think it's captivating to see polar bears on like Blue Planet or Planet Earth. I think it's absolutely tragic when a species goes extinct, because that means it will never be on Earth again because of human activity. That's tragic to me. So I don't think these are left or right issues. I think this is just, who can look, this is going to sound corny, but who could look at a flower, who could look at a butterfly and not say, that's beautiful, that has intrinsic value, and it deserves my respect? Who could say that?
So it does, but I also look at out-of-place objects, like out of time, out of place objects.
It can't be out of place or out of time. It's natural. It was here before we were.
Well, do we know that though?
Absolutely.
How do you know that?
Evolutionary record, fossil record. Absolutely. That's well established.
Do we really know that?
Absolutely.
Do we really know?
Yes.
There are there was an axe that was discovered in Texas that would have been 300 million years old. Do we know that a certain type of butterfly didn't evolve within those 300 million years?
Certainly.
There's a wheel. There's a wheel that was discovered in Uzbekistan that was in a coal mine shaft. A literal wheel, like a fucking wheel, in a mine shaft 2 miles below the fucking surface.
The strata, right?
The surface, and the only way that could have been created was almost 400 million years ago. So do we really know?
I want to see it.
Dude,
let's see the source on this.
This is
fascinating.
Crazy.
I love stuff like this. While you're pulling that up, let's fact check this article, because that seems very suspect to me. But here's the problem with people's thinking on evolution. People think evolution happened in the past and it's over now. Evolution is a dynamic process. It's happening right now.
Check this out.
As we speak,
300 million year old tooth wheel found in Russian coal. Scientists.
All right, what's the website?
The Earth was so young, 300 million years.
Wait, go back to the top. What's the website? All the way to the top.
This is Huffington Post.
No, keep going up to the top.
This is Huffington Post.
Look at the Huffington Post publish it. This is from Weird News by Lee Spelgel.
This is, but we'll search it other places.
Sure.
I would assume anybody who's on the left side, they're like Huffington Post fanatics, so they'll probably be like, "Fuck yeah, that's so
okay."
real.
Wait. Read. Stop. Right there. Right, that paragraph right there. Okay. One scientist, geologist Sharon Hill, who goes by the name I Doubt It, says the entire story is laughable. Writing in doubtfulnews.com, Hill insists there are so many red flags you should discard it entirely. Among the red flags Hill wonders about are: why is it not published in a journal? We have to accept a man's word for it. Where he found it and how he discovered it. Why speculate on the alien origin of the aluminum? So within the article you're citing itself, it's saying
look at this
probably
shit.
BS.
Like you literally, I'm going to say that's probably somebody who...
It's not peer reviewed. This is one guy making a claim. I don't know that we can say. But
let's be real. Are they really going to want you to know anything about, okay, let's just do out-of-place objects, period. Out-of-place objects.
All right.
Out-of-place objects.
So your reason for looking this up is because you're saying you're not sure about evolution? What's your stance on evolution?
No, I believe on evolution, but I also believe in Bigfoot. I believe that we have extraterrestrial or maybe intraterrestrial interference with our development and our progression.
Sure, that's possible.
Where are UFOs coming from? We don't fucking know. UFO, like Russia doesn't fucking know. Like, who the fuck would have some of the shit that they have? I don't know. Nobody knows.
I can't give like a serious response to that because I don't know. Right? There's not empirical data in front of me to look at. But what I can say from the data that we do have from the fossil record, from mitochondrial DNA comparisons, without a doubt, evolution has occurred and is occurring. We are related to the species of this earth. Maybe I'll give you this. Maybe the timeline is skewed. I have no problem with that. But the fact of the matter is the natural world exists, and we are related to the natural world. Great philosopher Alan Watts.
I don't doubt that.
Alan Watts says an apple tree produces apples.
Yeah.
You might say the verb that tree went through was it appled. Right, to say that as a verb.
Right.
A peach tree, peaches. What has the earth done? The earth has peopled, just like an apple tree, apples, right?
Right.
So we are just as much a part of this earth as any other natural thing in the earth, and and as just a philosophical train of thought there, I would say, because that's true, and we have a responsibility to this planet. So getting back to the World Health Organization meeting in New York and the energy paradigm, with horse crap and buggies and horses, right?
Right.
The point I'm trying to make is this. If there's a better technology, shouldn't we embrace it? Now, you just told me you prefer to drive a car rather than a horse and buggy because it's better. So if you can make electricity by burning coal, which pollutes the atmosphere and water tremendously, or you can make that same electricity with solar, which do you choose? I mean, if those are my options, why wouldn't I choose solar? And I'm not here to claim that solar has zero environmental impact. It does have an environmental impact. Sure. Everything we make has an environmental impact, but it's so much less.
But do you take into consideration the actual process to create those
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm referring to.
Mining.
Yeah, and silicone. Silicone is the most abundant resource on Earth.
Sure, but have you seen a silicone mine? Have you seen what it does? The
detriment,
pull one up.
The
impact.
Let's check one out.
Silicone mine, bro.
Coal mining, top-down coal mining in West Virginia is pretty terrible as well. But I'm sure that silicone mining has an impact. Absolutely,
dude. They're fucking ginormous, bro.
Go to images. Let's see this.
They're like they take over fucking entire landscapes, dude. Check this out. Look at that. It's an entire fucking landscape. That looks like it's an entire mountain.
Pull up a.
These are all fucking silicone mines.
Pull up a coal mine photo. Real quick. What you're going to see is it's identical.
I don't use coal, though.
Yeah, you're using it right now.
How?
This house is powered by coal.
No, my house is powered by water.
No.
Because my house runs off of the, United Water or whatever. No. Yes, it does.
According to Idaho Power's website, 50% of our power comes from 17 hydroelectric dams on the Snake River. The other 50% of our power comes from one diesel-operated plant and 3 coal-fired plants.
Okay, so what's the percentage of the coal-fired plant?
50%.
No, because there's 50. Diesel. So where's the diesel?
So then it's 45%. It can't be,
so diesel's 5% and then the water's 50%? What is it?
That's according to the Idaho Power website.
No.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Is that what they say?
They say 50% hydroelectric and the other 50% comes from diesel and 3 coal plants.
Why is coal so bad? Explain that to everybody on the show.
Well, I think anything that releases carbon into the atmosphere is bad. Anything that releases toxic chemicals into the environment is bad. When you create
these are huge fucking mines, bro.
Are you on the coal right now? Oh, go to coal.
The silicone.
Yeah, go to
coal.
Well,
of course coal mines are big, dude. Of course we know. But what I'm saying is, you can't discredit the fact that, silicone mines
you'll
are
be
just as big.
Yeah. I'm not trying to say that they're any better than coal mines. I'm just trying to show that they're the same. So, and then we're going to do a thought experiment. So click on images. Let's see this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Same stuff, right? Look at that bottom row, second from the left. I mean, that's just as bad as. Do you see the picture I'm talking about?
Hold on, I'm actually gonna make it big enough so everybody who's watching this on Channel 99 can see it legitimately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Solid. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Bottom
Where are we
row,
looking?
second from the left.
Right here?
That one. Yep. Click it.
Yeah.
Click it. All right. That's just as bad as a silicone mine, right?
They're all big, dude. They're all big
horrible.
As fuck. Mining is mining.
Silicone.
It's terrible
yes,
for the
I agree.
environment.
I agree. But now let me ask you this. When you dig coal, you destroy a mountain just like this. When you dig silicone, you destroy a mountain just like this. Either way, you're going to destroy a mountain. Do we agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay, but when you burn coal, you put that entire mountain back into the atmosphere. You don't burn silicone.
I don't think we're the only people who have ever done that.
No, of
That's
course
what I'm
not. The
saying,
whole
like,
world burns coal. Everybody. That's the primary
That's
fuel
the
source
issue.
of Earth right now.
But you don't want to be part of it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, it's just like the horse and
Listen.
buggy and the manure. If there's a step forward we can take, why not take it?
I want to buy a fucking Tesla.
Good
I'm
man.
totally pro-environment. I'm
Good.
not negating
see?
you. Yes,
We've come
I'm not
full-
negating
yeah,
you.
there it
I'm not
is.
negating you. I
It's
like
a
to
victory.
question. I'm just questioning you because I
Uh-huh.
think it's important as a CEO that you get fucking questioned.
I love it.
But I also do believe in free thought, and like I also don't think the reason why I'm buying like Tesla is for the certain reasons that you would expect me to be like, oh, pro environment, pro this and this and blah blah blah.
No, it's value.
No, for me it's value.
You buy it because of value.
Yeah, it's not silicone that's just made in these batteries. There's nickel, if you
Lithium.
look into
Yeah.
lithium, if you look into what it takes to create a battery,
Yep.
not good.
Nope, not good.
No. When
But-
you're thinking
and I agree.
environment,
I'm not
I don't
arguing
want to
that.
put that out.
I'm not arguing that at all.
This is when it comes to car batteries, but those are a little bit different when you're talking more or less about your satellite. I'm sorry, not your satellite, but your home. What do you call it? Solar systems.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, your home solar system, if you were to get a battery, those things are obviously going to be highly economical. They're going to be very much more pro-environmental versus, anti-environmental when it comes to the longevity
Yes.
of those things. That
Let's break that down. Let's break that down very simply.
So it makes sense that like people buy this because it does save them money, and it makes sense, and the industry thrives because it is something that's important and people do believe in it. So I'm not trying to negate anything that you're doing.
Oh no, I get that. But we're having a
tr-
great discussion on this.
Yeah, thank you. What I'm doing is I'm questioning you, and I'm literally being affirmative with the way that I view things and I believe in things. Now, whether or not I want to have solar placed on my house is one thing, but my opinion could be completely different. I am, if you think about it, more pro solar. If I were to give like a 1 to 10, I would say I'd probably give solar like a 6 or a 7 out of 10 right now. And the only reason why is because I'd probably have more of, I would say I'm more likely, 50% would be the breaking point. So if I were to give you a 6 or 7, it would mean that I'm more likely to get solar versus unlikely. So if I were to give you a 3 to a 4 to a 5, I'd be more unlikely to purchase that. Does that make sense?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So
Totally
I would I would definitely recommend solar. You are somebody who believes in what you do. You own a company for a reason. It does save people money. I've gone through multiple conversations with you, and they all make sense.
Usually
you're
it saves about $80,000 to $120,000.
Yeah, you're very rational. The way that you present things and the type of packages that you can provide are very reasonable. Like
let me sum it all up this way.
Yeah.
Getting to the environmental point, and I really appreciate what you just said. There's nothing that we can do that doesn't hurt the environment. If you publish
Everything
a book
does.
that hurts the environment, you got to cut a tree down to make the paper.
Yep.
If you eat out, you've hurt the environment because all the fossil fuels that went into shipping the food, the preparation of the food, harvesting the food, you eating the food. There's so much waste in everything we do, right? I accept that. What I'm saying is, if we can mitigate that waste, then why wouldn't we?
If you could just...
If you could lessen it.
If you could just cut one step out of that process, or if you could just...
You make it more efficient.
Exactly.
So here's the acid test. This is what it is. Solar, I'm not claiming, doesn't hurt the environment. It does, just like everything else we do. You make a car, you hurt the environment. You make a house, you've hurt the environment. But going solar hurts the environment less than not going solar. If you go solar, you've got a solar system for 40 years. And in that amount of time, that's much less harmful to the environment than if you didn't go solar and you were burning coal for 40 years. There's a much greater ecological... Solar doesn't hurt the environment at all. I'm just saying it hurts it less. And if either way, you need electricity. So if I can offer you electricity, or anybody can offer you electricity, and it's cheaper, it's better for the environment, and it gives you more emergency preparedness and ownership and equity, and it saves you a crap ton of money, why wouldn't you want to go solar? There's no reason not to.
Exactly.
If the value is there. Just like you want a Tesla, not because of the environment, because Elon Musk has brought so much value to the Tesla that you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And all I'm saying is, on the environmental spectrum, not a Tesla, environmental impact. Tesla, environmental impact. It's less. It's just less. That's all I'm saying. So if you can do something that is less harmful, why wouldn't you?
The overall impact makes a difference. Yeah, totally.
Can you imagine if every man, woman, and child on Earth got solar and a Tesla? Now, that's not realistic. I'm not saying that should happen. But if that happened, how much more time would we have on this planet before we destroy it?
Could you imagine if they would just release the radio technology, because radio is literally anti-gravitational technology?
I don't know anything about that. I can't even speak educatedly on that topic.
Could you imagine if they did that? Then we would never have to deal with any type of fuel energy.
Well, that sounds cool. I don't know anything about it, though, so I can't say.
It's all good. No worries. Anyways, all right, let's wrap this up, man. It's been a little bit over an hour. We've been like an hour and a half. So, dude,
wait, hold on. This. Are you getting bored? Are you done?
No, it's only an hour. Well, it's been an hour and a half, and I'm kind of hungry. I'm not gonna lie.
Gotcha. Let me hit one point here because it's so quick.
Sure.
I told you at the beginning of the podcast I wanted to tell you that global warming doesn't matter, and here's why. Can we hit that quick?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a super interesting topic.
Well, I think global warming is a very misinterpreted over-explanation. So
I studied biology in college, and as you can imagine, global warming was shoved down my throat as a biology major, right? Every professor I had was a bleeding heart over global warming. Disclaimer, I'm no professional in global warming. I read the International Climate Accord. I read what all these people are saying about global warming, but I also listen to the critics who say, well, here's why I don't think it's real because of A, B, and C. Reason A, B, and C. So here is the conclusion I came to. I don't know if global warming is real or not. I assume that it is because CO2 is a greenhouse gas, and the more CO2 you have, the warmer the temperature is going to get. That's just...
But that's what we're told, right?
Well,
I'm not here to
you can study. So, let's say
I'm not here to
if this
negate
room. Let me put it this way: if you have a car that sits out in the sunshine on a hot day, the car gets way hotter inside than it is outside. Do you agree?
Sure.
Okay, so the greenhouse effect is a good thing. We have to have the greenhouse effect for life to be sustained on Earth. If it wasn't for the greenhouse effect, it'd be like minus 200 degrees. And then during the daytime, it would be like 150 degrees. There would be no buffering of the environment. So the greenhouse gas is vital for life on Earth, and nobody argues if the greenhouse effect is real or not.
Right.
Of course it is. CO2 is a greenhouse molecule. Ozone is a greenhouse molecule, and we want ozone, right? Water is a significant greenhouse molecule, and there's lots of water in the atmosphere, right, as water vapor. So the greenhouse effect is, again, vital for life on Earth. What everybody's afraid of is not the greenhouse effect. It's the runaway greenhouse effect. Now, fact, if you take a container and you suck out all the air from it and you create a vacuum, and then you expose it to sunlight, it'll have a certain temperature. If you fill that same container with oxygen, it'll have a certain temperature. If you fill it with CO2, which is a greenhouse gas, it gets hotter.
Sure.
That's scientific fact.
It just absorbs a different type of heat or light.
What it does, the light, so you've got the Earth and you've got the atmosphere around the Earth, and what happens is the sunlight comes through the atmosphere, and a lot of it gets reflected away by clouds and by atmosphere. A lot of light is just reflected back into space, and that's a good thing. The ice caps, everybody talks about the ice caps because they're a giant white sheet over the North and South Pole. Sunlight hits that, and anything white, as you know, if you've ever been skiing and it's a sunny day, people can, how you get a sunburn? You can sunburn your retina if you don't wear sunglasses on a bright, snowy day because so much light gets reflected off the ground.
Sure.
So everybody's ski goggles are tinted like sunglasses because of this phenomenon. So totally proven, right? Everybody knows that's true. What CO2 does, the sunlight comes through, strikes the Earth, heats up the Earth's surface, and then the Earth's surface radiates heat. And that heat typically gets vented to the atmosphere. When you've got a lot of CO2 or water in the air, that heat comes up and it is absorbed by those molecules and redirected back to the Earth's surface. Now, again, that's necessary for life on Earth. Without that phenomenon, we would all be dead. The problem is if there's too much CO2, then the fear is that the more CO2 you have, the more heat gets radiated back down, the ice caps start to shrink, temperature goes up globally, and you've got this runaway greenhouse effect where the hotter it gets, the more CO2 goes into the air, which means the hotter it gets, the more CO2, and it's this cyclic cycle, and it's called the runaway greenhouse effect. That's what people are worried about. Now,
but let's be real, how many of these people actually do the analysis at that depth?
Well, according to the International Climate Accord, quite a few scientists have done this, and it's reproducible.
But they could tell any of us, like just the normal population, and then if anybody were to like negate them, they would squash it in the mainstream media.
So
Am I correct?
Yeah, sure.
I'm correct. They would squash shit out of that.
So let me ask you a question about that. Let's say that's true.
Yeah.
Let's say it is true.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
No, and I love it because this is where I'm going with this. Because remember, my premise here is global warming doesn't matter. Right now, you can hear from my words that I speculate that global warming is a real phenomenon, right? I believe that.
It's possible.
But I don't think it matters, and here's why.
I don't think it's real.
So here's why it doesn't matter. Let's say there was a giant conspiracy.
Sure.
And all the scientists were in on it, tens of thousands of scientists, and let's just assume that none of them spilled the beans, that this was fake. Let's just assume that they all kept the secret, which would never happen, but let's just say, and there was this giant conspiracy. What do they stand to gain?
Nothing.
What do they get out of that? We stop burning coal?
Yeah. Well, nothing, because it doesn't matter. Our politics are going to just do what they want to do.
So, but let's say that there was a conspiracy. What would fuel it? Like logically, what is it that these scientists would gain by lying to us about greenhouse gases?
The only thing that fuels conspiracy is
power, money, control, right?
No,
that's what all conspiracies are about.
Like what fuels it, though, I think what engages the people who are interested in that conspiracy is the relativity and the analytical backing that supports what it is they are that they're portraying. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is what is really important when it comes to something like a conspiracy. I don't think it necessarily has to do with money, or I don't.
So
think
what's the horrible outcome if all these scientists lie to us about global warming? The horrible outcome is what? We stop burning coal and we go to solar and wind.
I don't know. Look at what happened when the sugar industry lied to us about sugar and fat, and everybody was on the fat-free diet, and they got fat as fuck. And our our...
What do you think will happen if we go on the coal-free diet?
Well, in 1982, when they implemented, or, the early 1980s, when they implemented the whole food pyramid, our childhood obesity skyrocketed 300%. So, I've
listened to a TED Talk about that, by the way, and you're absolutely right.
Yes, and what it means is we are sheep, and the American public will fucking listen to whatever it is. So I don't believe shit. I don't believe any fucking thing.
But that's what's so beautiful about science. You don't have to believe anything. It's empirical data.
But it is. But I work in data, and I talk, and I work directly with raw data, and I can take data, and I can create, and I can manipulate factual numbers.
I admit that absolutely happens.
It is 100% correct.
Bias.
That's why you have, when you look into these types of sciences, like, where you have the, one side versus the other, and one's going to be, oh, well, we're like 70% of us agree with this. Well, it doesn't matter. It's, numbers doesn't fucking agree. I can get 1,000 people to say 2 + 2 is 5. I guarantee you I could pay a bunch of people that... flat Earth theory, yeah, dude. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Just because a lot of people are saying it doesn't make it true.
Doesn't mean it's fucking true. Okay,
exactly. So here's the scientific method here, and I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Here's what's awesome about the scientific method. If we can get a little nerdy here just for a second.
I'd love it.
Okay, scientific method states you have a hypothesis, you observe something in nature, you make a hypothesis about that observation. You then test that hypothesis, and based on the results and the data that you gather from that test, you then retest the hypothesis, right? You get information, you say, oh, let's try to falsify my hypothesis based on the data that we just got. True science is all about falsification. Mm-hmm. You should always be trying to disprove. So here's what's so powerful about evolution. It was a hypothesis posited by Darwin. It is now a theory. A theory and a hypothesis are very different in science. A hypothesis is largely untested. A theory has been tested again and again and again by independent sources, lots and lots of different people, and no one has been able to falsify it with a reproducible experiment. Now, reproducible...
or validify it.
That's what I'm saying. Meaning that you cannot disprove evolution with any reproducible experiment. Every experiment...
There's a lot of stuff out there that...
Reproducible is the key.
Yeah.
An independent lab has to be able to take your test...
hypothesis...
They have to be able to take your test and the steps you took and get the same information. Yes. No one has been successful at disproving evolution. Not one person has successfully disproved evolution, which is why it still stands as a theory. Do you know what else is a theory? Gravity. No one has been able to disprove gravity. It is
if you look at
the theory of gravity.
Sound waves are negative energy, are anti-gravity waves. So if you take sound, if we were to get really geeky, if you take sound waves, they are literally considered anti-gravitational waves. They are a negative wavelength. So if you look at a lot of the UFOs, a lot of the things that are in and out when it comes to unconfirmed aerial activity, a lot of those seem to, a lot of them, they seem to exhibit a lot of gravitational wavelength interactivity as far as like being able to utilize certain things such as sound waves and being able to direct those, because
being able to like manipulate gravity basically.
Well, yeah, at that point you manipulate gravity because it's an anti.
Dude, that was what made Interstellar such a cool movie.
Well, if you look up like sound waves, yeah,
it's all about gravity, right?
I haven't seen that movie.
You haven't seen Interstellar? Oh my gosh! Oh man, prepare, buckle up. It's like it's my favorite movie ever.
Hell yeah! And it's with what's her face from
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Is it Anne Hathaway?
Anne Hathaway and
I have seen that.
Matthew
with
McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey. I've seen it. That's
phenomenal.
Interstellar is like 3 hours long. I've seen that
phenomenal
3 times actually.
Yeah.
I was thinking
first thing I thought when I watched that movie was I got to watch it again right now.
Well, and that has to do with multi-dimensions.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Because he is trapped in multiple dimensions at the end, which is like something
so cool.
You have to watch and listen to if
you're
listening.
I need to be really clear. I don't know anything about the sound waves and the anti-gravity and all that stuff you're talking about, so I can't have an intelligent conversation on that topic. Good. It sounds fascinating, but I don't know. So very cool. To wrap up everything I'm saying, the scientific method, when applied to global warming, it seems to hold water. But here's why I don't think global warming matters. Let me get to now the statement here. It doesn't matter because either way, whether pollution changes global temperature or not, either way, we don't want to live around pollution. True or false?
No, we don't. Nobody does.
Okay,
no,
so it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant if it's changing global temperatures. The discussion needs to be, how can we mitigate pollution?
Right.
And if we change the focus, here's the problem with partisan politics. The Democrats and Republicans are so busy bitching at each other about, yes, it is true, no, it isn't true, that everybody's lost sight of the bigger picture, which is, whether it's true or not is irrelevant. We just need to figure out how to reduce our the amount of pollution that we're putting into the world. Either way, nobody wants to live around it, so why not take steps forward? Just like when the automobile was invented, everybody embraced that technology instead of staying with the horse and buggy.
Right.
Instead of a horse and buggy, today it's coal. And now there's solar. It's there. Is it perfect? No. But is it better than coal? You better damn believe it is. So there it is. That's why global warming doesn't matter. How do you feel about that argument?
It doesn't matter, dude. Yeah, no, I'm 100% for you. And I think you and I see eye to eye. And for the most part, everybody who's interested in solar, I think, dude, I think Chad puts on a pretty good fucking argument for not being right, left, center.
It's being American,
anything
man.
Like that. Just like not even being American, just being conscious of like your surroundings and being environmentally conscious in general. Just making sure that you're able to give back in the best possible way to make sure that your kids are able to, do the same. So, shoot, man, where can people find you? Are you got?
Well, we're just a local company, so I mean, there's a lot of people who are going to listen to this podcast, and in other countries and other states. And what I would say to those people is, look, it doesn't really matter what solar company you go with. All solar companies, I mean, just do your research. You should get a phenomenal deal that's much cheaper than the local utility, and you should get it for free. As far as upfront cost, there should be no upfront cost, and you should replace your public utility bill with a solar bill. It doesn't matter what company you go with. Just go get solar. Right, it's better in every way. If you do a pro list and a con list, there's literally no cons to solar other than what you said. I don't like the way it looks on the roof. That's literally the only argument against solar, and even that is a pretty weak argument because of all the benefits it gives you. Who cares? So I didn't mean to make this whole thing about solar, and I certainly hope that's not what people took away from this. I wanted to make it more of like a philosophical conversation where people understood like
it was.
Let's just take a step forward as humanity.
Yeah. No, you're good,
that's
man.
That's really what it's about.
It was, dude. It was dope. It was a great conversation. I don't think we got too in depth. I may have rambled quite a bit.
No, I actually really appreciated your comments, man.
Thank you.
It was a great discussion.
I think that the impact in general of solar is very important. I think that it's something that will continue to thrive and grow. I think it's an industry that is still in its
infancy, really.
Infancy, yeah. And I think as we see, more and more strides within our political environment to increase our protection and our agencies that are held within those protections, and held accountable for the protections. I think that that's something that's important. So obviously we didn't touch on a lot of the topics we wanted to, but we're also almost 2 hours in. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Make sure that you subscribe, everybody. Channel 99 is anywhere: Spotify, iTunes, Podcast Addict, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I'm literally anywhere you can think of.
He's everywhere.
Search Channel 99, you'll find me. I've got tons of episodes, amazing people, hence while I've chat on the show.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Make sure you subscribe, give us 5 stars, pass the episode along, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
That was beautiful.
Fuck yeah, it was. Peace.